A blonde mage was in the middle of a shrill tirade, aimed squarely at the party's beleaguered tank, Sonia. "Are you even trying?" she shrieked, while a dark-haired lout glared on, contributing nothing but silent, moronic judgment. Sonia, gritting her teeth under the verbal and physical assault from a monster, looked utterly miserable. Suddenly, the monster attacking Sonia is obliterated by a blast of dark magic. Sonia looks on in wide-eyed surprise. Standing over the dissolving remains of the monster, Sonia wonders if it was magic. Sonia turns to a party member with a staff, thanking her for saving her, but the girl denies casting the spell. Confused, Sonia thanks the blonde mage who had been yelling at her, assuming she must have been the one to save her. The blonde mage, after a moment of confusion, arrogantly takes credit. As Loa watches this from hiding, he thinks to himself that it wasn't his problem. He was a solo act now, free from the drama of incompetent allies. As the party deals with the remaining monsters, Loa, the true savior, slips away unnoticed. Loa walks away, relieved not to have been discovered, reflecting that he much preferred the simple life of hunting monsters alone. He muses that adventurers are prepared for danger and often resent interference from others. He admits to himself, however, that he couldn't just stand by and watch Sonia get crushed. Checking his stats, Loa notes the significant MP cost of the spell he used, reaffirming his chosen path, a fusion of sword and sorcery. He remembered the thrill of discovering his new skills and almost giddy power trip. With his hand glowing with power, he decides to use his skill. The crackle of energy was the sound of his own liberation. He'd even found a skill to create potions, a handy little trick for a solo player. He notes that creating 2 MP potions cost him 20 of his levels, dropping him from level 50 to 30. Determined, he decides to use the rest of his levels to create more useful magic items. He uses 25 levels to create a small item box, a crucial tool for his new life as a solo adventurer. He marvels at his new item box, immediately storing his 2 MP potions inside. He realizes how convenient these potions will be for him, feeling the pure, uncomplicated joy of his newfound self-sufficiency. He runs off, excited to keep leveling up so he can create a large supply of medicine, free to just kill things, get experience, and not have to listen to anyone whine. A montage of his first day of grinding shows him with a total of 44 MP potions. On the second day, he peeks in on Sonia's party again, where the blonde continued her masterful leadership display by pointing accusingly. "This is all your fault!" Loa felt a wave of second-hand exhaustion and now has 64 potions. On the third day of fighting monsters, his potion count rises to 94. By the fourth day, he triumphantly holds up his 100th MP potion, no longer having to worry about his MP supply. Fully prepared, Loa descends the stairs to the lowest floor of the E-ranked dungeon to face the boss. He pauses, sensing something ahead and looking on with concern. But as he watched, a new shadow fell over the room. He sees Sonia, alone, on the other side of a barrier. A giant frog, a creature of profound ugliness and surprising speed, plopped into existence, its vacant eyes fixing immediately on the most vulnerable target, Sonia. Loa's indifference wavered. The giant king frog, a D-rank monster with a recommended level of 120, lunged. Loa looks on in shock at the massive boss, while Sonia, abandoned by her so-called comrades, braced herself. The frog attacks with its tongue. She met the attack with her shield, but the force was immense. "Nah," she grunted, digging her heels in as the frog's grotesque, sticky appendage shot out again. The frog attacks with its massive foot, forcing Sonia back. The frog's tongue wrapped around her, her shield groaning and cracking under the pressure. Loa watched, a knot tightening in his stomach. Loa observes the fight, thinking the situation is strange and pathetic. Sonia was on her knees, struggling to hold on, a portrait of doomed defiance. Her face was a mask of pain and exertion, a mirror of how he had felt so many times before. He saw himself in her, the disposable front line, the one who takes the hits while others take the credit. He realized with a jolt that she was going to die if he just sat around. He couldn't just walk away and let it happen to someone else. He hesitates behind the wall, knowing he shouldn't get involved, but also knowing he can't ignore it, not right in front of him. As he wrestles with his decision, Sonia parried another blow, but she was weakening, her shield arm trembling. Sonia is hit by another attack. Loa tries to rationalize that adventurers must be prepared for this, but he knows that if you want something done right, you have to stop being the victim and start being the solution. He tries to convince himself that she, like him, wouldn't want to be saved. But he remembered the feeling of being stepped on, of being left behind. His jaw tightened. He had fought to escape that role, and starts to turn away, reasoning that she must have the same resolve. He stops, admitting to himself that it isn't true. At that time, he desperately wanted someone to save him. He recalls the memory of being mocked and how he repeated to himself that asking for help was pathetic to hide his own weakness. As the frog's tongue whips past her and sends her shield flying, his own excuses echo in his mind. Sonia is left disarmed and helpless on the ground. She looked up, eyes wide with terror as the beast loomed for the final strike. Suddenly, a blast of energy erupted as Loa punched through the barrier, making the frog recoil in surprise. The creature blinked its huge, dumb eyes, trying to process this new development. Sonia stared, her breath catching in her throat as she saw her unexpected savior. Loa stepped out from the corridor, his copper sword gleaming faintly as he assessed the wounded beast. "You're—" Sonia stammered. Loa glanced back at her, a wry smile touching his lips. "You held out well," he said, his voice cutting through the tension. "My turn." He faced the giant amphibian, a lone E-ranker, ready to clean up a mess he didn't make. And this frog was definitely a problem.